Good morning and welcome to the Fountain Studio celebration. Christmas is in the air and we look ahead towards holiday celebrations that, for many of us, continue to be COVID finessed. But regardless of how reality has meant adjustments to our treasured traditions, some traditions have become all the more meaningful in the last couple of years, like Advent's focus on hope, love, peace, and joy. This is a season of aspirations, a season of what ifs, a time of anticipation. So as we gather for this online celebration, it's my hope that our virtual time together will be an inspiration to you and yours as you aspire to being a part of Jesus' call to put love at the center of all we do. In the meantime, wherever and whenever you're joining us, we're glad you're here.
Let us join together as we get in the Spirit. The season of Advent challenges us
to see God's vision of what is yet to be,
to hear God's voice calling anew,
and to sense the presence of the divine in our world.
Advent hope begins our journey.
May we enter the season with love's presence ever near.
Advent hope begins the journey into this new Christian year. May we enter this new season with love's presence ever near. Advent is a time of waiting for our hearts to see peace and justice, human loving, touch the world and set it free. Fear and anguish shape our waiting, dread can cause our souls to mourn. Advent hope frees hearts from darkness, human lives hope will transform. God of promise, bless this Advent, bringing peace and joy our way. Fill our lives with hopeful waiting for a new and better day.
Let's affirm the Fountain's mission together. As followers of Jesus,
We put love first. The word Advent is from the Latin word that means waiting. As we light our waiting candles this holiday season, we are reminded of the many things we traditionally wait for in this season. Light in the darkness, peace and justice, and a love that transcends our own self-centeredness.
as we light our first Advent candle, may we be reminded that it's okay to be impatient, that waiting doesn't mean doing nothing. May the Spirit continue to blow on the ember of hope, inspiring us to move forward toward a vision of how the world could be, overcoming fear, division, and oppression.
Today we light a candle in hope that darkness will be dispelled. Let us pray together.
As followers of Jesus, we light a candle of hope to remind us that darkness is a womb from which the light of a new reality emerges. May the Spirit continue to blow on the ember of hope, inspiring us to move forward toward a vision of how the world could be, overcoming fear, division, and oppression. Amen.
Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Make room in your hearts, O children. Prepare ye the way of the Lord.
As we enter into this time of quiet, I invite you to take a deep breath, to center down, and if only for a moment, be still. Be open. Be present to the here and now, the gift of life, and the Spirit's presence with us, wherever and whenever we are. May we know the presentness of the more, the mystery of life.
His name is called Emmanuel. God with us, revealed in us. His name is called His name is called Emmanuel. God with us, revealed in us. His name is called
Holy One, we live at the mystery's edge, watching for startling luminescence, but just a word to guide us would do. In fragile occurrences, you present yourself, and we need the reminder to pause long enough to meet you.
Daily, there are glimmers, reflections of a seamless mercy revealed in the common things of life. These circles of grace spill out around us and announce that we are part of you.
Maybe we become conscious in this moment and in every moment of our gathering that you, our holy, creative, restoring, and renewing one, is the very life-giving energy pulsing through us.
May we know your presence and in our own ways, large and small, be a part of your shining light this Advent season. This is our prayer.
We offer this time of quiet, bringing our whole selves in the name of the one who taught his first followers to pray the prayer we now sing together.
This day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
Don't you just love to buy toys for kids at Christmas? At the Fountains, we have helped kids have a Merry Christmas over the past 20 years through the Wesley Golden Gate community. These are hardworking, low-income families in South Phoenix who are trying to keep a roof over their families' heads and food on the table. We have a chance to brighten their Christmas season through the Adopt a Kid program. We have 19 kids that we get to purchase some clothing, shoes, and toys from a wish list. We are putting the word out, especially to our Sunday morning studio viewers. If you like to help bring joy to some children and teens this Christmas, you can go to the Fountains website at give.weputlovefirst.org and donate under the Adopt a Kid category. We will be delivering the toys and gifts to the children the week of December 12th. Thank you in advance for your generosity.
The Fountains is a place where seekers, skeptics, and followers of Jesus all work together to make the world a more just and peaceful place. Whether you're joining us virtually or in person, we hope you'll join all of us who are supporting Fountains financially.
To get to our secure giving page, you can go to give.weputlovefirst.org or the Fountains homepage, weputlovefirst.org, and press the green Donate Now button. Or you can download the new Vanco mobile app on your mobile device. Search for the Fountains and follow the instructions. You can also open the camera app on your phone or tablet and point it at the QR code on the screen. And of course, you can always send a check.
The Fountains continues to be a catalyst for putting love first in our community and beyond. May we give with joy, confident that we are taking part in living out Jesus' call on our lives. Thank you for your support.
Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give thanks because God's given Jesus Christ the Son. And now let the weak say I am strong. Let the poor say I am rich because of what the Lord has done for us. Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give thanks because God's given Jesus Christ, the Son. Give thanks.
Before we hear our passage for today, a little context. When I'm choosing what to preach on, I try to go with series that are based on issues that seem relevant to what's going on in the world. However, when I first started out, I'd been trained to prepare my messages based on what's called the Revised Common Lectionary. The lectionary is a list of set readings for every Sunday of the year. The idea is that over the course of 3 years, called years A, B, and C, you work your way through every major theme in the Bible. Roman Catholics and many mainline churches stick to this plan, well, religiously. And while this makes for easier long-term planning for liturgy and music, it also tends to be pretty archaic thematically. Case in point is Advent. Here it is, the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas, and the set texts are talking about what? The apocalypse? Yep. The sun will be darkened and the stars will fall from the sky. Nation will rise against nation and blood will be running in the streets. Woohoo! Merry Christmas. Well, for whatever reason, the Middle Ages ushered in Advent's emphasis on the end times and a violent, terrifying second coming. Ever since then, in churches around the world, scary stories about the end of days are being read in the middle of a season that today emphasizes joy and peace. So, on the one hand, you have a little baby meek and mild, and on the other, Jesus wielding an executioner's sword. So, where did these texts come from in the first place? Well, the text we're hearing today is from Mark, our oldest gospel. At the time of its writing, the late 60s, early 70s, Mark's community was under siege. They'd been rejected by their fellow Jews. The Romans were closing in militarily, and people were anxious. Mark responds by having his Jesus tell people, "Don't you worry, things are going to get bad. But just when you least expect it, wham, the Son of Man is going to return and knock some heads. Just you wait. They're going to get theirs." Well, and as it turns out, for all kinds of psychological reasons, people get comfort from the idea that God loves them, but is going to eliminate with extreme prejudice everyone who doesn't believe exactly like they do. The Left Behind series by Tim LaHaye is a perfect example. They're looking for the Messiah in extravagant and super violent epiphanies. Sadly, many Christians believe in this stuff and spend all their time trying to calculate the time so they can be ready for a big showdown that is never going to happen. So, just keep in mind that today's passage was written for a community not sure if they were going to survive. Everything in the culture and society seemed to be lining up against their succeeding. They were discouraged and uncertain. And this passage is part of a kind of pep talk, assuring the listeners that all they have to do is keep awake. The moment is coming. Get ready. It's gonna be big.
Our words of wisdom are from Mark chapter 13, verses 32 through 37. But about that day or hour, no one knows, neither the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Beware, keep alert, for you do not know when the time will come. It is like a man going on a journey when he leaves home and puts his slaves in charge, each with his work, and commands the doorkeeper to be on the watch.
Therefore, keep awake, for you do not know when the master of the house will come, in the evening, or at midnight, or at cockcrow, or at dawn, or else he may find you asleep when he comes suddenly. And what I say to you, I say to all, keep awake. Hear what the Spirit is saying to the church.
Thanks be to God.
Americans have a reputation around the world. We don't like to wait. We want what we want, quick and easy. Like the tourist who rushes into the Louvre in Paris and says to the docent, "Quick, show me the Mona Lisa. I'm double parked outside." Or the customer who says to the store clerk, "I'll take this chess set. And before you wrap it, can you teach me how to play?" We don't like to wait. We want it now. Fast food isn't fast enough. Microwave ovens are interminably slow. Remember when 1 hour film processing seemed so fast? Now we wouldn't put up with waiting that long. We get our digital pictures instantly. I was somewhere recently where the evening news was on the TV and I realized, wait, all these stories are old. I'd read about all of them on my news feed a day and a half before. The networks just can't keep up. In 1989, right before email became a common means of communication, I lived in Australia. I clearly remember the tempo of correspondence. Write a letter, wait a week for it to be delivered, several days for a response to be written, then a week for the reply to be returned. If you're lucky, somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks for a reply. Now, email is too slow and passé. If you really want to get a hold of someone, you text them. And if they don't respond immediately, you wonder if they're in some kind of mortal danger. We don't like to wait. Truth be told, that's just how the people who Mark was writing to felt as well. They didn't want to wait any longer. For them, life was hard. The future looked grim. And in ancient Hebrew thought, our modern idea of progress, of gradual change, didn't exist. Steady progress just wasn't a concept in the ancient world. Instead, time was perceived as a series of ages that changed with suddenness, one after the other. Wham, bam. For Jews, there was the original paradise, the cursed world, and then the messianic kingdom that would appear on the clouds of heaven. Bam, bam, bam. So while a fiery apocalypse may seem scary to us, it was essentially an ancient Hebrew way of expressing hope for the victory of God. And what Mark was offering his hearers was the assurance that if you just wait a little longer, God will fix it. Poof! You don't know how, you don't know when, but just wait. Stay awake. You'll see. Have hope. But as the years rolled by, this admonition to just wait has created a kind of laziness. These apocalyptic passages have given people the idea that all they have to do is wait around for the divine to break in and make all things right, and we don't have to do anything. But there are different approaches to waiting. There's waiting for that correspondence by post or email, the nothing you can do about it waiting, just waiting. And then there's the other definition of waiting, the idea of waiting upon someone or something, as in tending to. I used to be a waiter, Boston Sheraton, breakfast shift for the business crowd. I learned that if you pay attention, you can develop a heightened awareness of people's expectations. I learned that a good waiter learns the rhythm of the meal and can anticipate the customer's needs. I also learned how to peg the bad tippers ahead of time. But it was an interesting time in the food service industry. Things were changing, and unless you've been living under a rock, you'll know that waiters no longer exist. No waitresses either. In an effort to find a gender-neutral title, we were briefly referred to as waitrons, but that got nixed, thankfully, in favor of servers. Ah, now that's good. It's subtle, but my sense is that being able to say, "How may I serve you?" conveys more dignity than "How may I wait upon you?" And we've all heard the nightmare stories through the pandemic about customers who demand to be kowtowed to and disrespect their servers and other essential workers. So when we talk about Advent as being a season of waiting, I think it's good to be clear about what kind of waiting we're doing. It's not the kind of waiting that is purposeless, shiftless, I don't have anything to do kind of waiting. It's not a almost demeaning, "How may I wait upon you?" kind of waiting. It's more like being on the serving staff. How can I serve you? And this is important as we try to excavate through all the distractions of the holiday and get a glimpse of something deeper. For many, it's about more lights, more extravagant gifts, and once-a-year acts of conspicuous generosity. And while we're at it, we'd also like a big dose of the holy, thank you very much, as long as it doesn't take too much work, because as Americans, we don't just want our fast food fast and our text responded to immediately. We want our connection with the divine quick and easy too. One order of Transcendence to go, please. Can you make that a large? And when that demand is left unmet, we compensate with more stuff. Look, most of us have everything we could ever want or need for not just basic survival, but genuine comfort. Even the most humble of us within the sound of my voice is richer and more privileged than the vast majority of people on the planet will ever dream of being. And yet that one thing many people yearn for often remains just out of reach because we want it right now, quick and easy. Marcus Borg called this one thing the more. We hunger for mystery, for awe, for the transcendent. And let's say we can get beyond the idea that quick and easy is going to work. We open ourselves to that big transcendent epiphany and wham, what do we get instead? Life. And we're ticked. Life? Seriously? Where's the transcendence? And I'll give you the answer that the mystics have given to that question from time immemorial, right in front of you. It's in the circumstances and the people we interact with every day, in the wonder of creation, in the intimacies of human life, and more often than not, in the experiences we have serving others. Take a look at the symbolism of the Christmas stories. Sure, there's a fancy star and some angels sing, but where does real transcendence get traction? How about in the awkwardness of the unplanned pregnancy of an unwed 13-year-old? In the vulnerability of a newborn child? Of people working the lowest, most demeaning jobs around, the shepherds, getting it before anyone else? Or of foreigners, the magi, journeying for countless miles to get just a glimpse of what others have right in front of them, if they just open their eyes to see it. Advent is the season of the Christian year that exists in the tension between scary apocalyptic visions and the quiet reality of everyday life. Advent is a reminder that while we're waiting for God to break into our lives in some big fancy way, we're more likely to get a glimpse of the divine in the simplest of mundane struggles, with the humblest of people, in the places we least expect. In our Mark passage, the hearers are encouraged to stay awake. And in our closing song, we're going to sing, "Find us ready, Lord, not standing still. Find us loving, and working and doing God's will. Be alert, attentive to the needs of others, ready and waiting to lend a hand or an ear. There's an old quote that's been attributed to everyone from Augustine to medieval rabbis to Martin Luther King Jr., so it seems to have some broad credibility out there. Pray as if everything depended on God. Work as if everything depended on you. That's it, isn't it? The transcendence we long for is waiting to break into each one of our lives if only we'd pay attention and not be distracted by the temptation to expect the big, the fast, the easy. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, "Never once in my life did I ask God for success or wisdom or power or fame. I asked for wonder, and he gave it to me." And how was it given to him? Through his commitment to the same call of the prophets that Jesus heard and preached. As he became sensitive to the big issues, the plight of the poor, to racism and other forms of oppression, and what it takes to change the world for the better, he got a glimmer of transcendence and the wonder that comes with it. For many of us, the first thing we need to do before tackling the problems of the world is to muster the strength to make it through our own personal struggles. And it's exactly there that we get those first glimpses of transcendence. According to Mark, all we need to do is stay awake, be ready, because you never know when the presence of the Spirit is going to break through. If you're looking for some big, showy wrap-up to solve everything quickly and easily, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. But if you can be open to the movement of the Spirit in the simplest and humblest of circumstances, in being intentional about serving others, then that longing for transcendence may not be too far from being fulfilled. After all, for lack of attention, 1,000 forms of loveliness elude us every day. Once upon a time, God decided to become visible to a king and a peasant and sent an angel to inform them of the blessed event. "O king," the angel announced, "God has deigned to be revealed to you in whatever manner you wish. In what form do you want God to appear?" Seated pompously on his throne and surrounded by awestruck subjects, the king royally proclaimed, "How else would I wish to see God, save in majesty and power? Show God to us in the full glory of power." God granted his wish and appeared as a bolt of lightning that instantly vaporized the king and his court. Nothing, not even a cinder, remained. The angel then manifested herself to a peasant, saying, "God deigns to be revealed to you in whatever manner you desire. How do you wish to see God?" Scratching his head and puzzling a long while, the peasant finally said, "I'm a poor man and not worthy to see God face to face, but if it's God's will to be revealed to me, let it be in those things with which I am familiar. Let me see God in the earth I plow, the water I drink, and the food I eat. Let me see the presence of God in the faces of my family, neighbors. And if God deems it as good for myself and others, even in my own reflection as well." God granted the peasant his wish, and he lived a long and happy life. Longing for the transcendent? Move beyond your conditioning to expect everything fast and easy. Stay awake. Be alert to recognizing the presence of the sacred in everyday life. You never know when or how it might show up. Keep longing.
Find us ready, Lord, not standing still. Find us working and loving and doing your will. Find us ready, Lord, faithful in love, building a kingdom that's here and above, building the kingdom of mercy and love. We must wait for the Lord, for we know not the time. So here and today we gather and pray, discovering love in our midst. Find us ready, Lord, not standing still. Find us working and loving and doing your will. Find us ready, Lord, faithful in love, building the kingdom that's here and above, building the kingdom of mercy and love. We must make straight the path, God's love revealed. With sin cast aside, God's mercy alive. Fear not, for here is your God. Find us ready, Lord, not standing still. Find us working and loving and doing your will. Find us ready, Lord, faithful in love, building a kingdom that's here and above, building the kingdom of mercy and love. Lifting up those bowed down, we prepare for the Lord. Rejoice in the Lord, for hope has been born in hearts where our God finds a home. Find us ready, Lord, not standing still. Find us working and loving and doing your will. Find us ready, Lord, faithful in love, building the kingdom that's here and above, building the kingdom of mercy and love.
Let us join together in these words of blessing as we go. May the Spirit fill us with expectation.
And may that same Spirit stir us into keeping awake.
open to the nudging,
open to the prodding.
to work towards realizing a new and better day.
Amen.
Go in peace.